Awesome victory for the Mountaineers. Coming here, making a regional for the third consecutive year in a row was certainly special. Our team has been hungry to do this all season, certainly deserving of being here. The last 3 weeks had been choppy. We had played okay baseball down the stretch. So to come into this environment on the biggest stage and possibly play our best game in the biggest moment and also get our first walk-off of the season on the road is really special. I think we have the most road wins in the country, and so it's fitting for this team to come on the road and to be able to get their first walk-off. Just really, really proud of the effort from the team and the staff. Griffin Kirn has been an absolute workhorse for the Mountaineers all season. He got better from pitch 100 to 117. The guy to my right, Armani Guzman, has had spot starts throughout the season. When Sam White got injured early in the year, it basically eliminated his playing time. And he stayed positive, stayed motivated. He's worked his ass off the entire season, and then he gets a start in the biggest game of the season and leads our team with 2-for-3 effort and has the walk-off sac fly and played great third base. So, that's why we're in coaching, for stories like that. Someone to be that consistent mentally throughout the year. He's one of the most talented players in the country, and things hadn't gone his way, and he stayed so level-headed. For him to be rewarded like this on this stage is incredible. It makes me so genuinely happy for him. And so, wonderful win for the state, wonderful win for the university.
All right, we're going to open it up to questions for both the head coach and the student athletes at the same time. Please raise your hand, name and affiliation. We'll begin here in the front, and then we'll go in the back to the cameras.
Bradley with you in baseball. And Griffin, Kentucky's coach talked about how, it seemed like they kind of had you on the ropes a couple times and you just kept battling back. How do you kind of stay level and like your coach said, sort of finish so strong?
Just trust our coaches and trust Oni calling pitches. I mean, he does a great job with the scouting reports and just trusting the process and, not really focusing on the runners, just getting the batter.
Let's go to the back of the room.
Kevin Kimber, Gold News. Armani, what is your thought process in the last at-bat? Contact, outfield, what's your first goal there?
Just kind of trying to hit, stay on the fastball away. If he hangs a slider, hit it. He made a good pitch, slider away, and I kind of just stayed on it enough to hit it to center field.
I know you've been working at third base some. Getting out there on this stage at that position where you haven't played a whole lot, is that any sort of nerves?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous. I mean, the whole day, just kind of seeing the lineup. All right, I'm playing third, haven't played it much, but I like the infield a lot. I've played the outfield a lot this year, but I always tell Sabins I'm a shortstop. He kind of believes me, kind of doesn't, but I'm there every day taking ground balls, so I was kind of prepared for the moment.
Any more questions? We'll go here in the front here, and then over here, and then in the second row.
Casey Ongon with Big 12 Studios. Griffin, how are you able to stay in the game? A couple of longer innings early in the game, but you're able to battle through 7 in the third. What's the mindset as a pitcher there?
It's just, get a zero. Doesn't really matter who's on base. Doesn't matter what happens. Just if you get a zero at the end of the day, you're probably going to stay in the game. And I kept telling Sabes and CR and Oni just trust me. They do trust me, and it's just getting zeros at the end of the day.
And Armani, just a fun one here. Is your walk-up song? I know you're from the city. Is that a tribute to Lindor?
Yes, sir. That's my dog. He doesn't know me, but my dog.
Let's go to Bradley here in the front, then we'll go to the second row.
Coach, you kind of talked about it in your opening statement, but what does it kind of say about your team's mentality to kind of come from, like you said, a sort of tough stretch of results and winning a game against a really quality opponent here?
It's who they are. They've been this way. They've been resilient. There's certain moments throughout a season where you can see growth, and without some struggle or adversity, you don't ever have that opportunity to see that. And so we'd won very consistently for a really, really long time. I think we were 3/4 of the way through the season, and we had the best winning percentage in the country. And so although that was wonderful and allowed us to play here today, it probably didn't allow for a lot of growth throughout the season of battling back and me needing to be creative with some lineups and change some things and feeling the heat over the course of the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think we had been a little bit stale, and so I think that staleness resulted in a little bit of a fire in our guys and from me to try to make sure that we're getting the right players in the right positions to be successful, because ultimately that's my responsibility. So I think through those hard times, you have an opportunity to do something special. And so for these kids to show up here on this day and to have the walk-off win is certainly special for our program. And hopefully that's kind of the next chapter of our season.
Let's go to the second row.
Coach, for you, Nick Costello with the Division Post. Knowing you coming in on a slow stretch and coming to a early deficit, what was your message to your team to kind of inspire them to say that we're not out of this yet?
I was pretty comfortable, clear-minded from the beginning, and I sensed that from our team. They had Latin music playing on the way to the field on the bus today. They were having fun, and so I don't get too wrapped up in it because at this point I can try to be aggressive and fearless and put people in positions to be successful, but it's their team, and I don't get too wrapped up in it because I feel like the results are going to take care of themselves, essentially. And so I think the message is more of just action from everybody. All the leadership on our team is just staying calm and competing and seeing how the thing shakes out. There was nobody tight. There's nobody screaming at each other. There's nobody worked up. It's a pretty focused group of individuals, and you got to let the chips fall at this point in the season.
Let's go to the back of the room with the cameras.
Griffin, you get the call, ready to start warming up, and then the delay. What did you do during delay, and then you just push everything back, or what's your mindset going through that?
Yeah, I was pretty focused, ready to go, like 30, 35 minutes before the game. And they told me they're gonna meet at 1:30, and I was like, all right, I need to like kind of like unlock in, I guess, in a sense, like just like kind of have fun with the guys and mess around. And then whenever they met at 1:30, I kind of got back in the groove, and it was just like, all right, it's go time now.
Coach, several lineup changes. I don't want to say motivational things, but shaking things up, like you said, trying to counteract that little stale feeling. What were the thoughts there?
People make jumps at different times throughout the season, and so you just have to be hyper aware of when those jumps are taking place. Armani's obviously a really great example of that, but there's a guy named J.J. Glasscock that wasn't ready to compete for us to begin the year, and I feel like he's ready to compete for us now. So over the course of the season, you're playing 60 games. People just have these opportunities from growth. So if they continue to work while they're waiting and they're not in the lineup, you can get better. So it's about having the team actually buy into getting better, because it's not like it's a finite finished product. These guys are 18 to 22-year-olds. They need to get better. And so the guys that stick with it and trust the process, stay competitive, try to earn opportunities, they do get better. There's some guys that play every day that maybe take for granted playing a little bit. And so I just think in general, this wasn't a result of anybody taking anything for granted on our team. I think our guys have been humble and hardworking. Guzman's just a premium athlete with a great attitude that's ready to make an impact. So I had to, he actually got 2 hits at Globe Life, and he got to third base, and we were getting shut out in that final game of the Big 12 tournament. And he got to third, and I said, damn it, Guzman, I need to put you at third base. It's killing me going to bed every night with you out, you being in the lineup. I was like, can you play third base? He said, I can play third base, Sabes. I said, all right, well, you're going to play third base. And so that's kind of how that all evolved, because it really was heavy on my heart for about 2 weeks because the team wasn't doing good, and you had this dynamic player with a great attitude. But every time I tell him to go to third, his ass is taking ground balls at shortstop, and I want him to take them at third. And so I need him to take him at third because I wanted to play him at third. And so now he's figured out maybe why I wanted him taking ground balls at third base.
And Money saw you getting some treatment on your hip, and then was that what cramped up, or was that something different on the field?
No, I stepped back to make the throw, and my calf just cramped up, and yeah.
You get a lecture from
Yeah, a lot.
staff, right?
Yeah,
Not hydrated.
yeah, a lot of liquids. Got it. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.